Around 30 Egyptian youth protested outside the COP27 Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. The demonstrators chanted slogans to protect the environment as they quietly protested in the designated area outside the summit compound. More details in the next report. Take a look.
Reminder, no mentioning a country, no mentioning a person and no mentioning a company in your chants.
An orderly climate demonstration at the UN COP27 Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. Public protest is effectively banned in Egypt,
And we're only staying on this side of the street, so
where activists say a crackdown on dissent has left them no room to operate. Asad Rehman, director of the UK's War on Want group, says this year's curbs make it hard to pressure leaders to do more for poorer countries.
You may have noticed there is absolutely nothing taking place on the outside of the official venue. There is no People's Summit. There is no demonstrations. Of course, that's because many of these things are illegal here in Egypt, and movements weren't willing to allow the Egyptian authorities to greenwash a sanitised demonstration if the Egyptian movements couldn't attend in person.
This is the designated area for protests outside the compound. Under the watchful eye of the police, young demonstrators who say they're from Sharm el-Sheikh demand the protection of coral reefs, like those found here in the Red Sea. They avoid holding anyone to account. Authorities say protests can be held that are similar to previous climate gatherings, like Glasgow last year. Campaigners say accountability and transparency are at the heart of the battle to ensure countries step up their climate commitments. And Egypt's policing has cast a cloud. This is Mushira Khattab, president of Egypt's National Council for Human Rights.
You cannot work on civil and political rights and ignore economic, social and cultural rights. You have to work on all rights. You have to listen to the people, and you have to know that change will not happen overnight, but we have to see incremental change.
On the eve of the summit, Egypt's most prominent prisoner, Alaa Abdel Fattah, said he was escalating his hunger strike, putting human rights in even greater focus. His sister Sanaa Saif has joined activists at COP27. Egypt's president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, is a former military leader who took power after a wave of protests against a Muslim Brotherhood president 9 years ago. Sisi says security measures, which include thousands of arrests, were needed to stabilise Egypt. Andrea Praso, executive director of US-based The Freedom Initiative.
And right now, in the very country whose soil we're standing on, there are 60,000 political prisoners. Alaa Abdel Fattah may die this week in prison because he's on a hunger strike because of his unjust detention. And that is not only diminishing the ability to have a productive COP, it's really a real tarnish on the Egyptian government's attempt to hold this key event where they would obtain global status.
Egyptian organisers say most demonstrations take place in the summit's blue zone, which falls under UN responsibility. One activist said there have always been guidelines on protesters pointing the finger of blame. It's just this year they're being rigidly enforced.